Hello, my friends. Hello. It is Wednesday morning. We're coming off a difficult loss last night in St. Louis. We'll get to all that and more, but first, we are Guardians Daily, presented by Fan Arch. Happy to have you with us. As always, I'm your host, Luke Gable. Man, bummer. Bummer last night against the Cardinals. That was a game the Guardians played some excellent baseball for about seven and a third of an inning. And then things just kind of fell apart at the end last night. Disappointing. We're able to get up to a 5-2 lead. Jose hits the home run early. Schneeman hits a home run early. Cardinals had answers. They were hitting home runs. Everyone was hitting solo home runs in the first couple innings. It was an interesting start to the game. Joey Cantillo settled in for us. Got ahead. Got up to a 5-2 lead. Really looked in control, felt like we were in a good spot in the game. George Valera with the big hit, kind of an accidental late swing, got down the third base line, worked, brought home a few. 5-2 lead going into the bottom of the eighth. You got Eric Sobrowski, who's been unhittable this year. You feel like it's over, and it wasn't. And JJ Weatherholt hit his second home run of the night in the bottom of the eighth. We'll get to him in a little bit later. Would have looked good in some Cleveland Guardians uniform, wouldn't he? We'll talk about that in a little. Bummer. And then you get to the ninth inning. Yeah, one first, two outs, not a problem for Cade Smith. Juan Brito, not the best fielder. There's been some discussions about that already. He came in to pinch run for Valera, which I didn't really get. After he got the hit, I guess coming off the injury, you're thinking try and get a fresh guy out there. I get that, and Valera's not a Gold Glover out there in the field anyway, so I get that as well. Boots it. Brito just booted it. I mean, it was a hard hit ball, but that was a routine play. I mean, if it's Rocchio there, there's no question the play gets made. Like he started the year at second base, and it's a guy in his first less than a week in his major league career. It's not going to define him. There's 162 of these. We'll keep it moving. We'll get over this. There's going to be bad losses throughout the year, but right now you're in it. Then David Fry should not be catching. I was all last year. I was kept saying it in conversations. Man, I can't wait until Fry can catch again. What that can do for this lineup. I guess I kind of forgot, or maybe it's gotten worse. He's horrible behind the plate. He is bad back there, and maybe that's because we're spoiled with how good Hedges are and Bo are. And Bo's not even the best back there, but he's obviously improved a lot throughout his career. And I think this year really hasn't been anything notable to complain about with Bo back there. Fry is terrible behind the plate, and I think and he's terrible at the plate hitting currently, and I would love for it to get back to what he was in 2024. And I feel like that was more of a Linsanity run and a flash in the pan than what he's going to be for the rest of his career, and that sucks, but I think that's the truth. When you talk about David Fry, he's bad back there. He's just sloppy behind the plate. And then you saw it in the top of the 10th after the game was tied after the base hit. And he's just bad as a catcher in general. He's been just inconsistent. He can't throw anyone out. And then you see it last night in the top of the 10th. Cade Smith. It wasn't Smith. Who came in to pitch the 10th? Hmm. 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 Oh yeah, it was Heron. Heron Titch came in to pitch the 10th. Pretty quickly got the run over to third because of pass ball right through. Fry wasn't the best throw in the world. Heron's had his problems himself. And then you saw, I mean, they made a pretty good throw home and the play at the plate to end the game on the sac fly. When I think it was Church who hit it for St. Louis, I thought it was a no doubter. He pimped it. I guess he was just pimping it knowing it's going to be a sac fly anyway, but it was still a close play at the plate. Fry did not seem like he was in the best position to make a catch and a tag. And I mean, I could go on about David Fry behind the plate if that's our big concern this year. We're probably in a pretty good spot because he's not going to be catching every day. And I think his catching appearances are really going to be in things like last night, where it's someone else starts behind the plate. There's a pinch hit, there's a sub. But then he's catching in these late game scenarios. I would have had Hedges back there for the ninth, if you ask me. That's easy. Hindsight's 2020. They had 2 outs. Brito catches that, makes that play at second. You never even talk about who's catching for that ninth inning. I get that, but that's not what happened. He did boot it, and there was plays to be made at the plate, and now you have your worst of your 3 catchers in there in the ninth inning. Not great, not smart. Then it looks, and it especially doesn't look smart when you have these close plays at the plate, and the guy catching is by far the worst out of the 3 from a defensive standpoint. And then Hedges is actually the best at the plate right now out of the 3, which is wild considering where these guys have been throughout the last year or so of their career, or 2 years. I mean, David Fry was an all-star. David Fry was an all-star. I know people be hard to believe what you see now with him, but he was. So, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a lot. It's a you lost game 2 in St. Louis. You have a chance today, afternoon game. Go win the series. The energy turns right away. But then you lose today. Now it starts to get that feel, and the vibe just turns for. And that it could be something that simple that turns things for a team. And the tides can turn quick in baseball. We've seen it before when little things like this happen. You lose one you shouldn't, and that sometimes those start to compound, and things could stack, and then it could affect you in this weekend series against the Orioles. You never know. So interested to see this afternoon how the team responds. We'll look into today's matchup a little bit later. Want to get into the Cade Smith thing in general. I mean, I don't think this was really a Cade Smith disaster last night, but I mean, the hit he gave up that ended up losing it with the double, certainly that's on him, right? He gave up a gapper, but he hasn't. And his numbers this year aren't like horrible or anything. But I always think a good linear test is like everyone has their group chats and stuff that they talk about their sports team with. Cade Smith gets brought up a lot more than you would expect in my group chats and things of that nature. And just the general sense I get from people when I talk about this team, there's not that sense of comfort and trust there. Like we even last year it felt that I felt, and obviously with Clase, and when he was in his best, even last year he had his struggles before. Obviously he was gambling in games and stuff like that. We don't talk about Clase anymore. Bum. We'll get to Clase. We can do a whole episode on Clase if we want to one day, and what he's cost this franchise and this organization in terms of what they could have gotten in return for him. But when you look at Cade, see, Clase will get me off the tracks quick. When you look at Cade, it's not. It just hasn't been smooth, and even some of the saves he has gotten the save. There's been traffic. There's been high pitch count, and he's filthy. Cade Smith is a great pitcher. This isn't a knock on him and what is he as a MLB pitcher, but in that closer spot, I don't know. I feel like the confidence isn't there as much. I mean, it just never. It has not been as smooth as it was when and I guess that makes sense. But back in the day when you put him in, when he was really making his breakout in that 24 run, you put him in the seventh, eighth inning, even sixth. They would sometimes put him in early if they needed to. High leverage situations like these weren't low. This was big, close games, runners on maybe, and he would just come in and just mow batters down, strikeout, strikeout. And it seems like he plays with his food a lot nowadays as a closer, And I don't know if that's me reading too much into it, and maybe that's not really what's going on, but it sure feels that way. And it just doesn't have that feel of, oh, this is a slammed shut door, it's locked ball game when he's out there anymore. And that's not that's just a new feeling for us as Guardians fans based on you can knock on Class A all you want and he deserves it, but he was the best closer in baseball. And there was that level of he's out there, they're not going to be able to touch this guy's stuff. And at times it has felt that way with Cade as well, but it doesn't right now. So I ask you, and like, how comfortable are you when Cade Smith steps out for the bottom of the ninth inning or top of the ninth inning in the save situation? Because it's not as comfortable as it used to be, and that's more what we're getting at. It's not this, and I don't know if there is another guy in that pen to take that spot, and I don't think that really is where we're at right now. This is just food for thought because Cade Smith's gonna be your closer, and I'd be surprised if there's any change there, especially anytime soon, unless things start to get really bad. In which case, everything else, because everything's on the table from the bullpen perspective. But Sabrowski's probably your next best bet. I mean, he gave up the 2-run shot last night, and I'm not, you don't see me dogging on Sabrowski because he's been awesome this year. So honestly, there's not any reason for real panic there, but it is the start of this conversations are happening. There's texts being sent. How are we feeling about Cade? I don't trust Cade. It's out there. There's the murmurs. So something to keep an eye on. See how you feel when he goes out there next time, and see what we get from him going forward. Hopefully, he gets a chance to bounce back today and pin down a win for us on Wednesday for the Wednesday game, and then go into the nice weekend series against Baltimore. So hopefully it's just a little bit of a blip for Cade and you get back to that dominant form he has. And I actually do think that's where we're more likely heading. More so than things taking a turn for the worse with him. I'd expect things to more turn towards the positive with Cade Smith. But another guy last night, scary and regrettable, it feels almost when you see him play. Second baseman, was a top 10 pick in the draft less than 2 years ago with the Travis Bazzana draft when we had the number one pick. JJ Weatherholt's really good. He's really freaking good, guys, and he looks the part. And it doesn't. This could have been said well before he hit the 2 home runs last night. When you see this guy play, he looks the part of a stud middle infielder. He's just a stud. He's a ball player. He has that ball player look of like, oh, this kid is supposed to be really good. Yeah, I believe that. Right when you see him in the box, you see him make a play in the field. It tracks. And then you saw it last night with the power and power to both sides, opposite field as well. He's just an impressive player. And I hate doing this with Bazzana because Travis Bazzana's had his little injuries, and he really I think Bazzana is going to be a really solid baseball player, and I still do. And I know people get really caught up in the advanced metrics with him right now, and they're not great. His barrel rates are down, his exit velocity's down, his power and numbers in general are down. JJ Weatherholt was the guy they were deciding between two. Yeah, and you can check that. That's reported pretty much as fact. It was between Bazan and Weatherholt for them. Even though Weatherholt didn't end up going till 7 to St. Louis, so you could say, oh, the guy who went 7th was also going to go number one. That's what it was, especially at that time. I mean, and you can see why they both play the same position. They're both really good young athletes, and Weatherholt was just put on a show last night. And it's one of those things when you see it, you get why he's supposed to be the guy for St. Louis and why there is such good high expectations for him. He made an incredible play at second, a couple of them, but the leaping catch at second, I swear, was one of those holy, woo, that guy. I mean, he was 10 feet. He was so high in the air, timed it perfectly, robbed Rocchio of a hit. All Rocchio could do was laugh. That's how good of a play it was. And Rocchio's an incredible fielder on the middle infield as well. So he knows what it looks like when it's an incredible play. And that was one of them. And now it gets to a point where that's what fans are thinking. That's what people in the know are thinking when you watch this series. We got Brito booting the ball at second base, and Bazzana in Columbus, and this Weatherholt guy is the best player on the field last night, and he was. I'm not saying he's better than Jose or some of these other guys, but you get the point. He dominated that baseball game. He gave the Cardinals a chance to win it, and they did, and they took it from us. So Weatherholt, just like a name to keep an eye on throughout the years as times go. Obviously, we're not going to be. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to watch a ton of St. Louis Cardinals baseball. I'm not. And I don't think there's a lot of people are unless you're a St. Louis Cardinals fan. But JJ Weatherholt, that's a name to keep an eye on and just kind of track, especially as things progress with Bazzana and he makes his debut at some point, hopefully in the near future. Obviously, his numbers in AAA aren't great, so he's not banging on the door to get let up necessarily. But he's the way the timeline is. He'll be up at some point this year. You'd have to think, at least towards the end of the season. But JJ Weatherholt, stud, and maybe they should have taken him. Maybe that's just where we are. Maybe that's who we should have taken over Bazana. Time will tell, but right now he's got a good head start. He's got a good head start. But not to worry, Bazana, Weatherholt, they've got a lot of time left in their careers to figure all that out. But we only have one more game in St. Louis left for the Guardians, and that is some Wednesday afternoon baseball. 1:15 first pitch. Slade Saccone on the mound. And boy, I think this one is going to tell us a lot about this season and this team going forward. How do they respond to a little bit of friction like last night? A little bit of controversy, a little bit of a disappointment last night. How do they respond as a baseball team? And we'll find out today. We don't have to wait long. Yeah, you don't have to wait till another night game, even. And it doesn't get any easier after that. It's not like we have a day off Thursday. We go right back at it with the Baltimore Orioles at home at Progressive on Thursday. So I think this is going to be a game. Keep your eyes on it for Wednesday afternoon while you're at work, while you're in the office. Pop it on. Let's see how this team responds after the tough loss last night. Try and win another series. Like we've been saying, keep winning series. Good things happen. Good vibes around the team. That's how you build this season, and you kind of just keep the ball rolling. Let's get over it. Scrap what happened in the bottom of the ninth last night. Just move on. There's 162 of these, and this is just the next one. Let's go win a series, get out of St. Louis with 2 out of 3, and get back home in front of our fans at the ballpark this weekend. I'll be down there for a couple of games. Hopefully, the rain holds off, but always a fun time back at Progressive. The summer's right around the corner. That's where our focus is. Slade Saccone on the mound this afternoon. And I'll be back with you tomorrow for more Guardians Daily. Appreciate you tuning in. As always, thank you and go Guardians.